Alright guys, what's going on? My name is Christian and welcome to another video. As always, before I get started, I do want to say, can we aim for 100 likes? Please do smack that like button. It's not that hard and it means the world to me. And please do leave a comment in the comment section below as I read every single comment. So today's story is kind of a different one. One that I've done, I've kind of done this type of thing a few times, but this one actually happened to one of my good friends. And to get this started, we'll call my good friend Jack. We'll call him Jack. I know that's like the name I use every time, but let's just go with Jack. So kind of like the story about the nudes, Jack had started talking to this girl on Kick, right? So he went on Kick and into this thing called Chat Now and ended up finding a girl. And they just started talking, right? So it was just a random thing. He was like, hey. She was like, hey. And after a while, he was like, what state do you live in? And she was like, Colorado. And then my buddy Jack's like, really? Like, that's where I live. And she was like, oh, that's cool. Maybe we could, meet up sometime. And he was like, yeah, I guess so, maybe. So about a week passes, and they're really hitting it off, right? So he starts sending her pictures on Kick, not like dirty or anything, and then she sends them back, and then he's like, hey, why don't you take one with camera? Because on Kick there's this thing where it tells you where if the picture comes from the camera or not. And so he had her do that, and sure enough, it came from the camera, and she was legit, and she was who she was saying she was. And then he did the same, and they just continued to hit it off. So like I said, I was pretty good friends with Jack, still am to this day, and so Jack was just like really into this girl, and they were hitting it off, and he told me even like for about 2 months into it, he was like, yeah dude, we're dating, we've been dating for 2 months. And I'm like, oh, would have been nice for you to tell me that sooner. And he's like, yeah, I don't know, it's just it's always kind of embarrassing when it's like a long distance thing. And I'm like, dude, come on, I'm your friend, like it doesn't even matter to me, like I really don't care. So about 3 months into the relationship, so this is about a month later, Jack is like, all right, dude, I really kind of want to go see her. And I'm like, all right, why don't you ask her? Because we were chilling at his house in the basement, and he was like, all right, what do I say? Like, oh, we should meet up sometime? And I was like, yeah, for sure. I was like, you guys have Skyped and stuff, right? And he was like, no, she said her phone can't do Skype. And I was like, what about her laptop or something? And he was like, she doesn't have a laptop. And I was like, okay, does she have an Android? And he was like, yeah. So they couldn't do FaceTime, so that was out the window. And I was like, all right, dude, are you for sure like this girl's legit and everything? And he was like, yeah, she sent pictures from Kick camera. And I was like, okay, all right, makes sense. So apparently they had talked on the phone a lot, and that night he ended up calling her, and he was like, hey, so you know what, our 3-month anniversary is coming up in a week, and I think we should, kind of see each other. And then she was like, no, I don't think so. Like, I don't think that's a good idea. And he's like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I mean, it's only been like 3 months. And he was like, okay, all right, fine. So he was like, well, I'm not going to take a no for an answer to this, but he was like, give me your address and I will send you a gift for our 3-month. And she was like, okay, all right, I can do that. And so he went on Amazon and he ordered a teddy bear for her and sent it to her, which, let me just say, especially if I have a long distance relationship where I couldn't even like Skype the girl or anything, like I definitely wouldn't be sending her a teddy bear or anything. But he ended up doing it, and she ended up getting it, and she was like, oh, thank you so much. And then he was like, why don't you take a picture with it? And she was like, okay. And so she took a picture of the teddy bear, and it was only like half of her face. And apparently he was like, can you show your whole face? And she was like, oh, my dad's home, I gotta go, or something like that. And so that was kind of the end of that. So about another 2 weeks passed, and he's like, look, I really want to see you. Like, I honestly want to see you. And he's like, I don't think I can do this anymore if I can't. And she's like, listen, just wait till like 5 or 6 months, just like wait. And like for a long distance relationship to be going on this long, and then they haven't even seen each other, which I don't know if I mentioned, but she was, I think, lived like 2 hours away from us. And then, or at least that's what her address said. And so, yeah, that's kind of how that went. And he came over to my house another time, and he was like, dude, listen, for our 4-month, I'm going to surprise her and go to her house. Like, I know she's all, kind of nervous and everything, but when I'm like 10 minutes from her house, I'm going to text her and be like, be ready, I'm picking you up. And I was like, dude, that's actually badass. Like, you should totally do that. I think she'd totally like it. Like, I didn't even really think about it. Like, what if her parents wouldn't let her go or something? I don't know. I didn't really think about that. But he just wanted to go see her. He had the gas money. You know, he has a job, so he had plenty of money. And that's what he ended up doing. So the next part is everything that he's told me, right? So apparently he ended up getting there and she freaked out on him, right? He called her and he was like, yo, I'm 10 minutes away, get ready. And she's like, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. And he's like, okay, then I'll wait. And she's like, okay. And then so when he gets there, he parks out in front of her house. And then about 10 minutes later, she comes out, right? And he didn't notice because he was looking down on his phone doing, like, playing a game or something or talking to me. And then she comes up to the car and knocks on it. And he's like, what is this chick doing? Because it didn't look like the girl he was talking to. And he's like, hello, are you, we'll call her Ann. Are you Ann's sister? And she's like, no, I am Ann. And apparently she was this chubby ass girl that was really pimply and not very attractive at all. And he was like, what do you mean? And she's like, can we go somewhere and talk? And he was like, I guess so. And so they go to like a friggin' fast food place, right? Because he wasn't going to drop any money on this chick that had just lied to him. And so they get to the fast food place and she gets to explaining that she had this thing that made it look like she was sending pictures from her camera. And it was actually one of her friends on Facebook's pictures. And he was like, you know, like, why would you lie to me? And he was like, oh my God, I just drove 2 hours for this fat bitch. That's not even like what I was thinking of. And I don't know how I would have felt. Like, I would have been so awkward. And then she was like, well, do you want to like go get a movie or something? And he was like, no, I'm taking you home. And she was like, look, I'm sorry, Jack, I'm sorry. But he ended up taking her home and then he left. And I don't know, it was just crazy. He blocked her, literally did not talk to her again, which is that dicky? Like, kind of, but at the same time, like, how would you have felt? He literally drove 2 hours to go see this girl that he had never, like, Skyped or anything. I don't know. That would have taken a lot of balls. That's something I even tell him to this day, you know, like, I couldn't have done, so I commend him for that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I actually might have the Snapchats of, like, him and the girl, but I don't know how I would show you guys that, but yeah. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this story, definitely hit that like button, leave a comment. Sorry if it's a bit long. I love you guys so much. I'll talk to you later, and peace.